Hello and welcome to SGPN's The Daily Dog. I'm your host, Britton Hess. I'm here with my favorite Underdog fantasy pick and plays for Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025. If you're new to Underdog Fantasy, sign up with the promo code DAILYDOG, DAILYDOG at UnderdogFantasy.com or on the Underdog Fantasy app. Get a 50% deposit match bonus with up to $1,000. That is as good as it gets. Yesterday, we hit a couple things. We fell victim to some bad combos in a couple where one guy did his job and the other one didn't. But we did hit on a pitcher's entry. We did hit 2 out of 3 on one of our dong squads, which is always a exhilarating feeling when you go 2 out of 3 on the dong squad. Nick Kurtz and Eugenio Suarez did continue to do their jobs out there. Say Suzuki had a bad game, so that's why that one didn't go 3 for 3. But hey, I'll take the little 4.26x multiplier on that one. And then got a refund on our entry with Dom Smith in it. He didn't get the start I thought he would, but he didn't. So it is what it is. Couple losses all throughout. A real big miss on a tennis entry, but it is what it is. They don't always come as you expect. Just comes with the territory when you're in these underdog streets every single day. But yeah, we're back at it today. We're back at it with our sorry, I'm losing my voice a little bit. Back at it with baseball, with WNBA, and tennis for your underdog entry pleasure. So let's start out with MLB. We're going to start out with Ezequiel Tovar higher than 1.5 total bases against Eric Fetty and the Cardinals. We had Tovar yesterday. He didn't get it done. He had a couple balls to the track, or at least one to the track that I saw, made some other contact. I think that, it was a one-off spot. I think Tovar is going to be just fine here. He's going to get it done and get us over 1.5 total bases. I think you get more than that, honestly. If you wanted to put a little dunk squad entry in with Tovar, I think that you've got a good opportunity here against Fetty. Not saying Fetty's bad or anything. I just think that is a little bit of a one-off, his bad performance. Another one, Agustin Ramirez, higher than 1.5 total bases. We're going to take him in this one for the Mariners as they host the Padres, and Steven Kolek is the pitcher for the Padres. Kolek has been fine. He's not great. He goes about 5 innings, right around there. He doesn't go deep into games, but I wish he would because the bullpen for the Padres is actually pretty good. But Agustin Ramirez higher than 1.5 total bases. That with Ezequiel Tovar higher than 1.5 total bases at 3.59x multiplier. MLB entry number 2, back to Coors Field. Keep on milking Coors Field. Brendan Donovan higher than 7.5 fantasy points. Just too low. I don't get this. Too low for the leadoff man for a team that's going to score some runs at Coors. Obviously, there's good batters behind him. Obviously, he's a good batter himself. He can run the bases well. He can get his own extra base hits, score some runs, drive guys in from the end of the order who get on base. Love Brendan Donovan higher than 7.5 fantasy points. And then also for the Pirates against Casey Mize and the Tigers, Bryan Reynolds higher than 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. He woke up yesterday. I regretted not putting him on an entry. He was on my short list that I left off, but you know what? Today is another day, and I think that Mize is a guy that can be got. I don't think he's bad by any means. 9-3 record, 3.15 ERA. I mean, the record, obviously no one cares about records in baseball. 1.22 whip. Mize isn't bad, but he does have some blow up spots, and I just think that Bryan Reynolds is one of those guys who's going to finish the season strong. So give me Bryan Reynolds higher than 1.5. Higher than 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs with Brendan Donovan, higher than 7.5 fantasy points for a 3x multiplier. MLB number 3, these young Astros that are carrying this team without Yordan Alvarez. Cam Smith, higher than 1.5 total bases against Eduardo Rodriguez. And the D-backs just don't think Eduardo is that good. He's not that good. Cam Smith is a very good young player. Pairing that with Juan Soto, higher than 0.5 runs scored against Cal Hendricks and the Angels. Obviously, Soto is, he's capable of, driving himself in with a home run. But again, I think that the Hendricks is going. There's gonna be some runs in this game. That's what I'll say. I think that this thing's gonna be high scoring. If the Mets get 4 or 5 runs, a great opportunity for Soto to be one of those ones crossing home plate. So pairing that with Cam Smith higher than 1.5 total bases at 3.27x multiplier. MLB entry number 4, we're going to go with Elly De La Cruz higher than 8.5 fantasy points against Brandon Young and the Nationals. I can say the word Nationals, I swear. Elly is, he just can attack this thing in so many ways with his home runs and his base stealing. His high fantasy points numbers are not really ever that daunting because if it's less than 10, you think you've got a good chance. He can hit a double, he can drive a couple in, he can steal second, he can steal third. So there's a lot of options there, especially versus a pitcher like, Brandon Young is the Orioles pitcher. I don't know why I said him instead of Brandon Lord. Brad Lord. We got the wrong guy, or I said the wrong guy, but you know what I'm talking about. The Reds are playing the Nationals. Elly De La Cruz, opportunity to get it done for us, higher than 8.5 fantasy points. Then Bryce Harper, higher than 0.5 RBIs against Richard Fitts and the Red Sox. Fitz, I don't think he's going to have a performance like our man Walker Buehler did yesterday for the Red Sox. I think the Phillies are going to score way more against him. I think that there's going to be Bryce Harper contributing to that by way of RBI. So higher than 0.5 RBIs for Bryce Harper, higher than 8.5 fantasy points for Elly De La Cruz, 3.57x multiplier. Pitchers, number one, Richard Fitts, Cristopher Sanchez, higher than 0.5 first inning runs allowed. I think there's going to be a home run in the first inning, whether it's one of these righties against the lefty Cristopher Sanchez, or it's one of these lefties, or anybody against Richard Fitts. Fitts is just a pitcher that I'm not all that impressed with. He's only 25. Obviously, he's got time to improve, but he's allowed 7 home runs on the year. He got it under control in his last 2 starts. The 2 previous to that, he allowed 5 in those 2 games against the Angels. I think that it's going to be more like that than his last 2 starts. So higher than 0.5 first inning runs allowed for Fitts and Sanchez. Then Mize and Mitch Keller, higher than 0.5 first inning runs allowed. I think Mitch Keller is going to give up a homer, but I think that there's equity with Mize to give up that run as well. So Mize, Keller, higher 0.5 first inning runs allowed. Fitz, Sanchez, higher 0.5 first inning runs allowed, 3.21x multiplier. Pitchers number 2, Simeon, Woods, Richardson, Yoshinobu, Yamamoto, lower than 0.5 first inning runs allowed. I just don't think the Dodgers are starting out of the gates all that hot, all that often. And I think Yamamoto is going to be able to navigate the starting lineup for the Twins there. Then Framber, Valdez, and Eduardo Rodriguez, higher than 0.5 first inning runs allowed. Love the hitters on the Astros against Eduardo Rodriguez, and I think that Framber can get got. We've seen it a couple times, so it's not like Framber is a shoe-in for the Cy Young and going to dominate for 8 innings here. 3.21x multiplier on that. WNBA, Aja Wilson, lower than 23.5 points. I know she was looking good into the All-Star break, but star like her might take a couple of games to get back into the flow of things. I know it's a home game, but 23.5 is a high number. She can have a 23-point game, 15 rebounds, and 17 assists, and have a great game. But higher than lower than 23.5 points is what I'm going to be sticking with. But I am going to go with the young Paige Buchers, higher than 17.5 points for the Wings. 3.12x multiplier on that one. WNBA number 2. I am confident Angel Reese is going to get 14.5 points, higher than 14.5 points against the Lynx. And Sabrina Ionescu, higher than 17.5 points, had a little bit more chill time into the All-Star break. I think she's going to get back to getting into the 20s and 30s even scoring. So 3x multiplier with Reese and Ionescu higher than their point totals. Tennis entry number 1, Alexandra Mueller, lower than 0.5 sets 1 against Holger Rune. He's taken this tournament very seriously. He was one of the first guys out there training. And then Peyton Stearns, higher than 8.5 first set games played against Venus Williams. Yes, old woman Venus is out there. Venus has one good set in her. I think that they could go 6-4 first set, and then she's demolished in the second. But 8.5 is very low. I think that there's a great opportunity here. So 3.65x multiplier on that tennis entry. Tennis entry number 2, we're going to go with Yulia Putintseva, lower than 0.5 sets 1. Putintseva, and she's playing against Neskova, I should say. Putintseva has just been terrible lately. She is just not someone you can have, or sorry, she's going against Osaka. My God, I got my wires crossed there. She's going into Naomi Osaka. Yulia Putintseva, though, has been terrible lately. I think Osaka can roll over her. She's done it plenty of times in the past. And that's going to be paired with Fabian Marozan, lower than 0.5 sets 1 against Gabriel Diallo. Diallo is surging right now. Fabian Marozan in the hot weather, the hot hard court, not his forte. 3.42x multiplier on that one. Lotto entry number 1, Brandon Young. I talked about him earlier on X, and I meant to talk about him now. Brandon Young, higher than 3.5 earned runs allowed for the Orioles. Seiya Suzuki, higher than 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs after a slow start yesterday. And then Will Smith, higher than 0.5 RBIs. He had 2 homers yesterday for the Dodgers. Then Bryce Matthews, higher than 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs for those Houston Astros in a good pitching matchup. 23.96x, flex at 14.37x if it goes 4 for 4, 3.35x if it goes 3 out of 4. Dong squad, number 1, Cal Raleigh, higher than 0.5 home runs against Mizrowski. Guy throws hard. That means Raleigh can hit it far. Michael Toglia, higher than 0.5 home runs against Fetty and the Cardinals. Matt Chapman, higher than 0.5 home runs versus a relatively inexperienced pitcher for the Braves. 57.92x multiplier. Flex at 28.96x / 5.67x if it goes 2 out of 3. We hit our flex on the Dong yesterday. Let's do it again today. Dong squad number 2, Sean Murphy, higher than 0.5 home runs for the Braves. Mike Trout, higher than 0.5 home runs for the Angels. Kyle Manzardo, higher than 0.5 home runs for the Guardians. 110.72x if you go straight up. I recommend flexing it. Flex at 55.36x or 8.95x if it goes 2 out of 3. All right, that's all I got for you today. Good luck on your picks. I talk fast. Check the show notes to get all of these entries written out for you. Thank you for listening. Good luck on your bets, and let's make some money.